Let's continue with erosion. So erosion is basically the removal. Obviously it is the part of exogenic forces, so there will be a removal. So whenever there is a surface, and if this surface is removed by a mobile medium, that would result into erosion. So we have a running water. So running water is also following the gradient from high elevated areas towards the low elevated areas. So while moving, water will cause what? Water will cause erosion, removal of the surface material. And that's how it will lead to the modification in the crust or modification in the surface which we use. And that would lead to the modification in the topography, modification in the slope as well. So running water is also what? A kind of exogenic agent which cause exogenic forces which resulted into destruction, breakdown, removal of crust, removal of earth surface. Modification in the topography would be appeared. Groundwater is also following the same thing. Yes, in the ground in the crust we also have some sort of slopes, and we may have some sort of channel like this. Okay, have a channel like this. So from the high elevated part, especially in the crust, water may move towards the low elevated part, means the gradient is always there. It's because of the gradient we have what? These kind of processes. Here, especially in the endogenetic forces, we discussed that there was a major role of geothermal gradient. The heat was moving from interior towards the surface. Here we have what? A physical gradient, and it's because of that there is a movement of water, there is a movement of matter, and that is causing removal of surface. Glaciers, they are also responsible for the removal of material, especially in Himalaya. You will see the same thing. Waves and currents in the coastal areas, you will see there's waves and current of ocean, or let's say ocean water, led to some sort of modification in the coastal area. Winds, obviously winds is also exerting some sort of exogenic processes, means removal of material will be there, and these wind related exogenic forces will be well appeared if you are in desert. So in desert you might have seen that dust storm is there, or when the dust storm is there, this dust storm is actually the result of erosion. So when there is a erosion, the material will be removed, the topography will be modified. And you can also relate it in that way that the sand dunes keep on shifting. It's because of the constant action of wind or the exogenic action, you can say. Yes, when the wind is also blowing, the wind is also blowing because of the gradient which is actually developed. Wind used to blow from high pressure areas towards the low pressure. So from high pressure to low pressure, wind will blow. The wind is also following the gradient. Waves and currents, they will also follow the gradient. Glaciers will also follow the gradient, high elevated areas to low elevated areas. All of these segments, all of these parts will follow the gradient. While following the gradient, they will remove the material. So what we can say that weathering, which was actually the in situ process, erosion is what? Off situ process, that the removal is taking place somewhere. Material or the eroded material is transported in the medium, and it will lead to the deposition at somewhere else. So when there is a removal, when there is a deposition, there will be a modification in topography, modification in slope. Then whatever is being eroded, that will lead to the deposition. So running water will lead to the deposition, and because of that deposition, lakes might be formed. Because of that deposition, channel or river channel would choke completely. You might have seen drains during the monsoon, specifically that drains used to choke. It's because we used to add plastic there. That's why it will have a kind of, the choking kind of tendencies. So we have the same thing specifically in the running water, that whatever removal material is there, if that entire removal material is deposited in the river channel, that would lead to what? Choking, and that would ultimately flood specifically. So running water, or let's say how deposition would lead to the change in the surface, or would lead to the change in the slope or topography. Groundwater will also have the same thing. When it will have a deposition, it will going to modify the surface, modify the topography. Glaciers, waves and winds will also have the same action. Here the material will be removable and here the material will be deposited. Suppose here we have a mountain. Taking example, suppose here we have a mountain and let's say here we have this rock block, or let's say rock, and here in this rock we have some small pores, and as a result of these small pores the water is there, and it's because of that water this particular rock is broke down in small part, or let's say small part of particular rock, let's say small parts of rocks or pebbles, you can say. So this is what the in situ process, and this process is completely with the action of temperature and water. Now simultaneously there is also one more possibility. What possibility is there? That yes, we may have a running water here. Now when there is a running water and this mountain surface will interact with each other, there will be a friction. As a result of friction there will be a removal, and when there is a removal, that will lead to the modification in the mountain surface, and when there is a removal or when we have a gentle slope, so here we will have what? Deposition. So here you can say what? That there is a erosion on this slope and there is a deposition whenever we have a plain areas or whenever we have gentle slope. So here the modification is taking place on the mountain surface as well, and the modification is taken place here in the plain itself, where the deposition is taking place and the place where the erosion is taking place. So on the both side we have what? Modification. So ultimately as a result of this, what could be the next kind of, I would say, image? This next kind of image would be like this, that this mountain may appear like this. So this modification is primarily due to weathering here, erosion here, deposition. So these set of forces are responsible for removal. They will remove and modify the topography, modify the slope. These forces will be responsible for creation of topography and modification. That means the earth crust which we used to see, it is subjected to constant change. So whatever topography, whatever slope, whatever feature we used to see on the earth's surface, it is actually the result of interplay between these two sets.